Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to Common Ground, a place to share methods we've learned from decades helping creative teams like yours to connect sincerely and put real people's voices at the heart of the creative process. In this video, we'll be exploring how to start research projects, from your mindset to creating an initial hypothesis and consumer persona. By the end of this video, my hope is that you'll have a clear set of questions to ask yourself as a team when you start a research project. Going back to our evolution of understanding, we want to start a new project by trying to identify a hypothesis. And this usually comes from needs or tensions we've heard or observed, or hunches, questions, or ideas that we've had in the past. First, let's talk about your mindset when you begin a new project. We like to start by asking, what do we definitely know? What do we think we know? And where do we have unanswered questions? We only consider well-proven, even predictive patterns as knowledge that we carry over into the next project. Otherwise, we label almost everything else as either an assumption or a question that we have. The reason for this is we want to start projects with an open mind. In the book Think Again, Adam Grant talks about the 3 Ps, reminding us we need different tools for different jobs, and the same can be said for our mindset when it comes to projects. For design thinking, we don't want to be a priest where we only see one path forward. We don't want to be a prosecutor where we don't know, but we don't see value in others' ideas. And we definitely don't want to be a politician where we don't know, but we just remain supportive to everyone else's ideas to keep the peace. Instead, Grant reminds us that we want to be a scientist with an experimental mindset that it's likely that I'll be wrong. But from that, I'll learn and I'll get closer to where I need to be. So to be a scientist, start with a brain dump of thoughts, asking yourself and the team, what hunches or questions do I have? What needs or tensions have I heard, observed, or experienced? And what ideas or opportunities have I already came up with? On most projects, we also like to split all that brain dump into 3 buckets: business, foresight, and consumer. So what does the internal team think? What is the state of the industry today and where is it going? And what do we think we know about the person that we're trying to help? Remember, at this point, you're just creating spaces to dump thoughts, feelings, hunches, and ideas that come up from you and your team before you begin to collect data and fill these out. Next, we want to hone in on who we are trying to help with this project, typically labeled as a customer, consumer, or user, but remember it's a real person. And one of the best places to start is to ask yourself, who do I know that really fits this target, the people we're trying to help, and begin to describe them. We like to group those descriptions into 2 different documents. The first is a persona, and the second, an archetype. We use an archetype to capture the shared characteristics of people, the commonalities that they share, and we use a persona to describe real individuals within that group. As an example, take a denim apparel company like Good American. They might target an archetype of a sisterhood of powerful, unapologetic women who value inclusivity and need denim that fits them perfectly to make them feel confident. Meanwhile, they may have lots of different personas within that archetype, considering different identities, body types, and so on. Now, if you search persona and archetype online, you will find lots of different examples. They all tend to be a bit confusing, so I like to break it down into 3 areas when I'm trying to describe people. First, how would they describe themselves? Their identity, personality, interests, and groups they feel a sense of belonging to. Second, what are their motivations and goals? What is it that's driving them? And third, what are their barriers? What's in their way of achieving those goals? Remember, someone's identity and the groups they feel belonging to can be explored through different lenses, including the following: personal, meaning their own sense of self and how they see themselves as unique and distinct from others. Interpersonal, encompassing the relationships and connections that they have with others, like family, friends, or romantic partners. Social, including the various communities, groups, categories, or labels that they identify with. Often things like race, ethnicity, gender, religion, nationality, or sexual orientation, and the groups they truly feel a part of and accepted by. Cultural, often the heritage, traditions, and values they grew up with and feel deeply connected to. Spiritual, like a connection they have to a higher power, religion, or practice. Geographical, often the connection people have to a particular place or region, from neighborhoods to cities. Professional, such as the roles, skills, or responsibilities in their career, and the feeling of connection to a field of study or intellectual community. And lastly, physical, things like appearance, health, and abilities. With all of this initial brain dump, it can be helpful to start to position this information in the form of a problem statement. A problem statement goes like this: I am, insert your initial archetype, trying to, insert the actions they're trying to take towards their goals, so that, insert the motivations they have, but I experience, insert the barriers that they're encountering, and I feel, insert how you think this barrier is going to make them feel. Now, with all the data that you have, it's likely you'll be able to create multiple different problem statements, and that's okay. It's simply a way to start pulling your data together. With all of this data, your questions, internal perspectives, industry knowledge, your archetype and persona, and the problem statements, remember, all of them are living documents and data banks from here out. They all help you to form a hypothesis, which can then direct what data you need to collect to try to prove or disprove it. As you begin new data collection from desk, quant, and qual research, you're going to keep adding to these documents and refining them. Above all else, if you take anything away from this video, focus on being a scientist and forming questions, not opinions. Try to have a real person in mind of who you want to help with your project, and create living documents that can evolve as your project does. In the next video, we'll be talking about recruiting people for your study and the different data collection methods that you can use. Stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.